Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Mini Catalogue Launch Party. I'd forgotten what I was doing there for a minute. Anyway, welcome back. This is the second of my pre-recorded videos for our time together today. As I mentioned before, hopefully, just because I've pre-recorded the videos doesn't mean I'm not watching with you. So if you have any questions or comments about the cards, please add them in the comments, and I'll be here hovering in the background to watch and to answer. No, but anyway, so these cards I'm going to do for you this time feature the Whimsical Trees stamp set and the Christmas tree dies. Together they're called the Wonder and Whimsy bundle. And I've just there on page, let's have a little look here. On page, the Whimsical Trees bundle, apologies, they're on page 24 and 25 of our wonderful mini catalogue, which we're all here to celebrate. So the stamp set and the dies together in the bundle saves you 10% on the individual prices, always a good savings. It comes together in the Whimsy and Wonder Sweet Collection, which you get such a whole lot of goodies added in. You get the stamp set, dies, you get this beautiful Blushing Bride ribbon, which is wonderful. I don't know that I'm using it in the cards, but I'll show it to you in a moment. You get these pre-cut shimmer snowflakes. They're absolutely wonderful. I am going to try and get one of those into this card. I've got it here somewhere. It's disappeared for the moment, but anyway, they are really nice and pre-cut, so you don't have to worry too much about popping things through your die cutting machine or anything. Makes a nice easy card. And the paper, and to me the paper is an absolute highlight. I'll show you some of the patterns that it has available. It's in most of them have a silver embossing on one side and a tone on tone on the other side. Just getting it out of my packet, and they are just the most wonderful colors. You can see that shimmering there. There's lots of mint macaron, and then there's this one here that we're actually going to be using in our card. It's Night of Navy, Blushing Bride, Polished Pink. I'll turn these over, I think. Look at this one. This is just so lovely. You can tell they've all been cut around a bit because this is my work in progress packet. This one here with the candy stripes is just so nice. All the colors there. To be honest, you could use that any time of year. So we've got the holly, the trees. This one here is wonderful for cutting the presents out of. If you didn't want to use it as a big block, you could cut those presents out and use them on your cards individually. Then sort of a plain silver candy stripe. And we're back to those baubles again. I think I love the baubles. And this one with the pink is the one I've used recently in a normal video to the world. I love that one as well. And the Blushing Bride, Mint Macaron, Misty Moonlight, they're all not particularly typical Christmas colours, but to me, I think they just lift the whole collection to a new level. Anyway, so that's the collection there. You can buy them all separately, of course, or you can pop them together in a single order number, and you get the paper, the stamp set, the bundle, the ribbon, and the little snowflakes for $139.50 Australian. So they are a good special when you pop them all together, or as I say, you can buy them individually. Page 24 and 25 of the mini catalogue. Okay, so we're going to make two cards with this little bundle, or actually the collection, because we're using just about everything. So I'll pop those aside for the moment. Okay, the first one I'm going to make uses the dies and the stamp sets, or the tree ones anyway. It's this little card here. It's also got some embossing, some sort of like just embossing folder usage. And it's got such wonderful textures. I think it's just really, really lovely. This is a card. This one is done in soft sea foam. I thought it would be a little bit pale for the actual video, so I have changed the colour up a little bit in the one I'm going to demonstrate to you. And it is in, I've got to remember now, Coastal Cabana. So anything that's soft sea foam in this one, I'm going to be doing in Coastal Cabana in our actual demonstration one. And I've cut everything and embossed it already. So as I say, I will put all the the details and all the item numbers that I've used into the comments after this video goes live. Okay, so as I say, we've got a Coastal Cabana card base, which is 8 1/4 by 5 3/4, scored in the middle. That's my normal standard sized card base. Give that a bit of a score. Pop that aside. I've got a panel of basic white, and I've popped this one through the textures, and I've got to remind myself, I should know it off by heart because I've used it. It's one of my favourites in the current catalogue, the Tasteful Textures, Tasteful Textiles embossing folder. And I like that one because it just sort of takes the plainness off a piece of cardstock and just adds that little bit of interest. So that one's going to go on the front. It might need trimming down. I think I've made that too long. Anyway, then I've got another piece of basic white, and that's going to go in the middle. Well, I've cut that one to the right size, so that's all right. Then we've got three little 1 inch wide, yes, 1 inch wide pieces of Coastal Cabana. 2 of them are 3.5 inches, and 1 of them is 3 1/4 inch. Yes, that's right. I'm starting to doubt myself there. So 3.5 inch, those two, and this one is slightly shorter. And they're just going to sit on the front of our card just like that, just to give it a bit of interest and detail behind the scenes. Then I have another piece of basic white, and I popped this one through a snowdrop embossing folder. There's one in the catalogue, and it's a nice little one that goes through our mini cut and emboss machine. And she's flicking through because she can't remember the name of it. Here we go. It must be in the annual catalogue. Apologies there. It must be in the annual catalogue. Anyway, I will look up the number and I will pop that into the comments as well. A spare piece of Whisper White just for our stamping and die cutting. And then I've got just few bits and pieces. All 3 of these cards I've used sentiment boxes out of the Hippo and Friends die set. Now that sounds exceptionally weird, that it's the Hippo and Friends. And to be honest, I am not a big fan of the stamp set that comes with this, but I am a huge fan of the die set, because if you overlook the fact that you might not use the little hippo, there are some really wonderful sentiment box or background dies in that, which are all a little bit higgledy-piggledy at the moment. But you've got this lovely octagon, I suppose it would be, with 8 sides. You've got this one here, and they all come in various sizes. So there's 3 of that one. There's a fair few of that one, and this one here. This is a really nice one, a good size for really making impact on a card. So yeah, that is one of my favourite sentiment box sets, even if I don't actually use it very much for the actual hippo. Okay, so there we are. Okay, so let's get popping. Oh, and I've got already some pre-cut out of our Coastal Cabana, some pre-cut Christmas trees from the Christmas tree dies that we've just spoken about. Okay. Just bear with me for a minute. There's some talking happening in the background there. Anyway, all good. Okay, so we'll put this one together and then we can see how it looks in the Coastal Cabana. As I said, I think I've made that a little bit too long, so we're going to have to trim that one down a bit. So I only want that one to be, where's my measurements? I'll come back at it around this back to front. Yes, I have. We want this one to be 5 3/4 lesser 1/8, so 5 5/8. There we are. That's better. That's a better size. So we might as well just pop this one straight on. Grab some glue. pop that onto our Coastal Cabana card base. There we go. What we might do as well is put on our little strips of colour there. So as I say, we've got two longer ones and a shorter one. And I'm going to pop those on like that and just glue those in place as well. So probably the first one, probably a good inch or so from the very top. And then just leaving probably, what would that be, less than 1/4 of an inch, probably, yeah, there we go, and there, pop those there. So they're just going to be a nice little background to our main event, which is happening next. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is bring in our snowflakes. This one's going to be on dimensionals. I'm going to pop it just there, sort of slightly off to the right-hand side. Forgive this shadow, this sunlight comes through my window towards the end of the afternoon. Hopefully it's not going to cause us too many issues today, but it does tend to appear through the window at this time of day when we have a little bit of sunshine, and I'm not going to argue about the sunshine today because it's been decidedly lacking. So I'm just going to pop some dimensionals on the back of this one. Okay. Yeah, and I'll pop that sort of the same distance, top, bottom, maybe a little bit higher, but well and truly over to the right-hand side. Crooked, I can feel it, crooked. There we are. Okay, so let's pop that aside for the moment, and we'll bring in the stamp set and do our stamping and die cutting. So we've got the stamp set here. I'm going to, oh, I've already taken them out. I'm thinking ahead for a change. I'm going to stamp one of our nice big Christmas tree, so he's going to be stamped. Another one of this smaller one with our little sort of dots in it, and a tiny little baby one as well. I'm going to put them all in Coastal Cabana. This basically is just a monochromatic card. It's just basically white and Coastal Cabana, which is quite nice. Okay, so first of all, our big Christmas tree. Make sure, see which way it'll go. Giving myself limited card stock here. Oh, that didn't work very well. Turn it over. Maybe my stamp pad's a little bit dry. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. There we are, that's better. We'll have one of those. We'll have a little one and this one. Okay, so we've got our 3 trees there. So I'm going to grab the dies and my big shot machine is off camera, so I'm going to go and disappear for a moment. I want this one, I want this one, and I want this one. Nope. And I will cut those out. Nice little dies. They're sort of quite easy to position. There's no trick to them. They just go straight on. Okay, so let's get our card back. We've got our two little dies that we've cut out here, also in our Coastal Cabana, and we can get those in place. Just turn my phone off. Bear with me for a minute. I'm getting messages on there that I don't want to have to answer right now. Okay. Cool. Okay, so should be uninterrupted now. Okay, so let's bring our little pieces in and position them. So I'm going to put the, well, actually, I haven't mentioned, I've got another piece of coloured cardstock here, which is 1 inch wide and matching the width of our basic white here, which is 2.5 inches. I'm going to actually pop that down towards the bottom just to give a little base for our Christmas trees to sit on. Just so they're not sort of hovering in thin air, just add a little bit more interest behind the scenes. So I'm going to pop that on with some glue. And pop that on there. Okay, so then also with our glue, I'm going to pop our Christmas trees on. So I'm going to want to have to snuggle them in behind each other. So I'm not going to go with my glue too close to the edge of the big tree, because I'm going to want to sort of tuck the others. Once I've got the position of this one right, I want to be able to tuck the other ones in underneath. So this one's going to go with its base on that little strip of colour there, but all the way up there. So he's our tall one, the sort of the main focus, I suppose. So he's there. Okay, so make sure he's nice and straight. Okay, this other little one here, I'm going to tuck him with some glue. I'm going to tuck him up behind. So I said don't go to the edge with your glue. And I'm just going to pop him just there to the left-hand side. Make sure they're both straight. And then this other little one, he's so cute actually. He's got his little baubles on him already. Not that you can probably see that, but he's a lovely little one. I'm going to put some glue on him, probably a bit much, and he's going to sit on the other side tucked behind. So he does actually overlap a little bit, so I really only needed to put glue on half of him, but it's okay, it'll dry. Okay, so there's 3 Christmas trees. So these other ones here, this big tall, what am I going to do? This big tall one, or the bigger Christmas tree, I'm going to pop him up and behind. No, where I was going to put him. I'm going to pop him there, just like that. Oops. No, sorry, I've got them around the way. The bigger one is going to go on the left-hand side. Tuck his sort of little stalk in behind and then up like that. And then the other one is going to go on the right-hand side with his stem on the outside like that. Okay, but you could probably trim that stem. I suppose it's a stem. What's it? A tree has a, lost the word now. Stem. It's not a stem for a tree. Oh my goodness, isn't that terrible when you forget the word that is like a word that you should know? The stem of a tree is a, oh my goodness. Anyway, whatever it is, that's what it is. It'll come to me in a minute and I'll think how silly I am. All right, so I'm going to use my white sentiment box here from the, as I mentioned, from the Happy Hippo. Happy, I've totally lost it now. Hippo and Friends die set. I'm going to get from the stamp set, I'm going to use May the Love of the Season warm your home and fill your heart, which is this one here. I'm going to do that again in our Coastal Cabana. Trunk of a tree. I told you it would worry me until I got it. Trunk of a tree. Anyway, so you must think I'm really silly now. Getting to an age where I forget my words more and more. Okay, so we're going to put that one on our Hippo and Friends sentiment box. We might turn it over because that was really, 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 really crooked. There we are. I'm probably a little bit distracted today because my eldest son is waiting to hear on a job offer. So I am probably not a good day to be doing videos because I'm more nervous than he is, I think. Okay, so this little sentiment box I'm going to pop straight onto the card just underneath our trees so that they sort of, it hides that untidy stem there or trunk there, and goes straight over our piece of coloured cardstock there. Okay, so that's that one. Right, so this card's pretty much finished. Oh, I have cut myself, and the really nice thing about this stamp, this die set, has these little stars. They're tiny, very, very tiny, and very, 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 very fiddly. But it also has stars, and it also has some baubles, tiny, tiny, tiny little baubles, which I don't think I use in any of these videos, but just so delicate. So I'm going to use one of the tiny little stars. I'm going to pop some glue just on the apex. There you go. The apex I can remember, trunk I can't. Tiny little bit on the top of that tree, and I'm going to put a star there. You actually cut the die set will cut, I think, 6 at the same time with the one pass through the machine. So you can put 6 of them. You can put multiples on there, and with one cut. I've got some rhinestones. I'm going to pop those around anyway as well. So just popping them around, a big one and a medium one and a little one. Put that up here. There we are. So that is our whimsical tree card there, and I really like that design. I love the layers. There's that piece of white. I'll pop that piece of white in as well, and then I'll bring the original back, and you can see the contrasting colours. You could do this one in, because it doesn't use any of the designer series paper. As long as you have ink and cardstock, you could do whatever colour you actually wanted. Look at that light's gone right through the middle of where I'm working now, so hopefully that's not too much of a hassle for you. Okay, so there's our 2 versions of the same design, one in the soft sea foam and one in the coastal cabana. So let's bring those both a little bit closer. There you go. We'll get rid of that. It'll work its way straight through the end, through the work, and gone, that sunbeam. There you go. I think I actually prefer the soft sea foam, but the coastal cabana is nice too. And I thought, as I said, I thought it would be a little bit easier for you to see in this video format. Okay, so that's card number 1. Keeping an eye on the time because I like these videos to be less than an hour. Our second card is a reverse gate card, and this one is, as much as the soft saffron was a nice pale colour, this card is pretty much the opposite. There's a lot of colour and a lot of bling and a lot of everything happening with this one. It's called a reverse gate because it's sort of like the back of your normal gate card. If a normal gate card would have the gate at the front like that, whereas this one, it's basically turned around. And I love this design because you've got so many different surfaces that you can actually decorate in this particular design. You've got the whole front there you can design and you can decorate, and that's like out in front. And you can also do these 2 side ones as well, and they're quite considerable that you can decorate those as well. I've popped the lovely paper on there, but you could put the die cuts and everything on there as well. So as I say, that one uses the beautiful silver embossed paper. So let's have a go at that one. Okay, so, and as I've mentioned before, don't worry too much about the measurements or the products because I'll pop links in the group once we're done. But this is polished pink, the colour that we're using for the card base. Again, an unusual colour for Christmas, but I think we can just about pull it off. This is an 11-inch card base from memory. She says remembering. Yep, 11-inch card base. I have scored it at 2 3/4. Yep, 2 3/4 and 4 1/8 from each side. So 2 3/4, 4 1/8. Flip it around, 2 3/4, 4 1/8, and it folds in like that. And the 2 folds meet pretty much not probably 1/8 of an inch difference between there at the back. So that's the basis of our card front, or our card base. Then we've also got, this is Misty Moonlight is our contrast colour. I've got a 3 7/8 square of Misty Moonlight, which is going to sit on the front like that. 3 3/3 of our beautiful designer series paper. So nice. It's going to sit on the front there. And we've got 2 of the same for each side. So this one would be 2.5 by 3 7/8, I reckon. Yep, 3 7/8. And the paper on that side, and then exactly the same on the other side. And again, I'm using my Hippo and Friends sentiment boxes. I've got the largest one in the Misty Moonlight and a smaller one, the next size down, in white. And I've got a cute little tiny one there that I'm going to use that as well later on when we're finishing up the card. Okay, so let's get popping this one together. I'm going to do both sides first. So first of all, the Misty Moonlight layer onto that side. So it's a good 1/4 inch border around. So you get to see some of that beautiful pink as well. And then my cardstock, my designer series paper. Now these baubles do have a direction, so you have to be a bit careful that you position them the right way up, or your baubles would be upside down, which is not a good look. Okay, so I'll do the same on the other side. So try and get them when you're doing this reverse gate, try and get all your panels lined up all the way across. So have them the same distances top and bottom, only because it makes it easier to position the middle one if you're not having to second guess yourself. This one here. Isn't that paper lovely? I've actually seen people cutting out those little baubles as well, just like the presents in the other sheet, and actually using them as highlights. Then we've got this one. So this is the square one for the centre. Okay, so there we are. Okay, so what I would do now is close the card down and line up the Misty Moonlight with the Misty Moonlight on either side. So make sure that this central one lines up with the little bits that you can see either side, top and bottom, and then it's even distances from either side as well. So what I'm going to do is pop the glue just in this one, because that's the only area that we're actually gluing. So don't go too far at the top and too far at the bottom. But then we can line it up, because our wonderful glue gives us that little wriggle time to make sure everything's central and straight. Okay, so that's our card base for our reverse gate card. Okay. Now we're going to decorate we're going to put some decoration on the front there. Not that I want to cover over that beautiful paper, but when you've got it, flaunt it. Okay, so this is from the stamp set as well, with this cluster of 3 little baubles here, and this little holly bunch here with the berries and the leaves and the little flourishes around it. So I'm using those. I have already stamped and die cut them, and I've actually coloured 2 of them. I'll just colour the 3rd one for you to show you the colours that I've used. Not really 100% sure why I gave myself that piece of paper. Maybe I was anticipating that I would cut them all. Okay, so this is the one I haven't coloured yet. I'm going to use our wonderful blends for this, and to do the ones that like the first ones I've done, I'm using light and dark polished pink, light and dark Misty Moonlight, and light and dark mint macaron. which are the colours from the designer series paper anyway, plus some light smoky slate to do the bauble attachments. I'm not really sure if there's a technical word for that, but that's what they're going to be. Okay, so I'll do those. I'm just going to do them all the same as I have the previous ones, just for sort of symmetry's sake. I am a slave to symmetry. Okay, the red one, pink one there, and some pink across the middle. And then this is the light misty moonlight. And then the dark mint macaron in there. But hey, you can go crazy. You could use any combination of colours that you want, and you could mix them up in between, between baubles. It's just, as I say, I love the symmetry of the same. And I'll just pop a little bit of the light polished pink in that little cross there. Then I'll bring in my smoky slate and do the little attaching bits. Okay, so that's done there. Quick as easy as you like. There we are. Just make sure that focuses. There you go. Okay, so as I say, I've got 3 of those. There we are. Plus I've got 2 of the, oh, my fingers are sticky, 2 of the little holly bunches. And here the leaves, let that focus, the leaves are the dark polished pink, and the berries are the dark polished pink, and the leaves are dark mint macaron. So I've got those as well. So what I'm going to do is bring in our Happy Hippo and Friends sentiment boxes. I'm going to pop the white one, just glue it straight onto the blue one. So we've got a nice sort of width of border around that, and the shapes match each other pretty perfectly. Okay, so then what we're going to do is bring in our little baubles. I'm going to pop them in a line, straight, lining up with each other on the 2 sides. And then, so those 2 are the same, and then this middle one, I'm going to bring it down just a tiny bit. Yep, they should go up a bit. And then this one down in the centre. Okay, so they are just going to glue right there. That untidiness at the top, I think you'd probably agree, it looks a bit untidy, but that's what we've got our other bits and bobs for. Just a tiny bit of glue on there, she says, and pop those up there. So try and keep it straight so it looks like they're falling sort of naturally downwards. Okay, then I'm going to do the other side so I can line those up because they should be the same height. Definitely got sticky fingers. And as I said, this one's a little bit lower. In the centre there. Okay. Right. So that's our 3 little sets of baubles. What I'm going to cover over their sort of messy tops with is this little sentiment box where I'm going to stamp with the other sentiment or the other main sentiment from the set. And then I'm going to bring these little pieces of holly either side as well to sort of cover the rest of those bauble strings there. So we might pop it onto our card first. So we've got our, just pop some glue on the back of here. Glue's decided to die. So just same distance, top, bottom, what's that? Top, bottom and sides. Definitely sides. You may want to make it a little bit lower because we've got all that stuff that's going to happen at the top there. Okay, there we are. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment with just black ink. And this other sentiment says, wishing you Christmas cheer and magical moments that last all year. Isn't that nice? Just checking because a couple of my black ink pads need a little bit of zhuzhing. So I was just checking whether this was one of them. So bring that one in there. Cool. There you go. Right, so we will grab some dimensionals. Find this one. This is nice ends here. I'm going to use our ends. Should always use your ends. Don't waste them. And my scissors. So first of all, I'll bring that in onto the top, in the top center, and just covering over the sort of ends of the that middle set of baubles. So pop that there, and then I'm going to pop a dimensional on the back of our two little holly bunches. So just towards the top where the berries are is where I'm going to pop the dimensional, because the rest of it's going to overlap our sentiment box a tiny bit. So I'll pop that. So just position it so that it slightly overlaps the sentiment box, but mostly hides the end of that bauble there. And the other one. And the same thing there. Now you could probably pop some glue in under here and make sure that those little bits of flourish and leaves sort of stick to your sentiment box, but I'm quite happy for it to have a little bit of a life of its own there. I think that's totally fine. So there we are. So there's the front of that one decorated. Thankfully that sun ray has moved on so we can see it properly. So there it is there. You can see all that shimmer and wonderfulness. Okay, so I have a tiny bit of Whisper white, basic white here, which fits basically in the back of that. So I'll tell you how much that is. It's 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. And I'm going to pop that in the back. You could stamp that with a second part of your sentiment or another bauble or some holly, whatever you like, or a little Christmas tree. Use the other stamps from the set in there. And I think what really makes a difference is if you grab I'm going to grab my Stella, my wink of Stella, and go over those baubles and give them some pretty bling. And it really makes a difference. It sort of lifts them and sharpens the colours. I love Stella over blends. It sort of really adds some highlight. And we all need some bling. This one doesn't have any actual rhinestones or anything on it. You could add them, of course. But I think the Stella on the wink of Stella on the baubles, and I'm going to pop a little bit on those berries as well. You probably won't be able to see it in the video. Give it a bit of a wiggle and see if you can. You might be able to if I get really close. Oh yeah, you can see that those baubles now really stand out and really shimmer in the light. Okay, so that is card number 2. So that's a reverse gate card using the baubles from the Whimsical Trees stamp set. Okay, so that's all for this particular stamp set. I've done 2 cards to show you how you can make the 2 fairly contrasting designs with the one bundle. So we've got our Christmas trees here in Coastal Cabana or soft saffron, or any colour you like really. And then our wonderful designer series paper with some happy looking baubles there as well. So as I say, this particular collection is on page 24 and 25 of the mini catalogue. If you place the order for the bundle, the stamp set and the dies, you save 10%. And yeah, I think it's basically got all your Christmas card needs wrapped up in the one wonderful collection. Okay, so that's the end of that one. We've gone 41 minutes. That's excellent. I'll be back at the next top of the hour with our, which I think will be if I go to the right to the schedule that I've planned in my head, will be our last session for the day. So thanks for being with me today and taking part in my launch. But anyway, top of the hour, pop and get a cup of coffee, put some clothes on the line, whatever you need to do, and I will see you all very soon.